The driver jumped out in panic. Achen, dazed but conscious, clutched her side. The man, dressed in an expensive suit and dreadlocks pulled into a bun, looked horrified. "My God, are you all right?" he asked. He rushed her to a nearby private hospital and paid for her treatment without hesitation. His name was Mr. Achen, a successful entrepreneur known across Kampala for owning supermarkets, schools, and housing estates. But that day, he saw not a street girl, but a young woman with fire in her eyes and pain in her soul. Achen opened her eyes slowly, blinded by the piercing white ceiling lights above her. The beep of a heart monitor kept a steady rhythm in the background. Her body ached, but there was something else, a feeling that something was different, something was new. Sitting up weakly, Achen noticed a man resting in a nearby hospital armchair, his designer suit rumpled and his face heavy with concern. This was the man who had rushed to her aid, Mr. Achen, a successful real estate mogul and a well-respected philanthropist in Kampala. He stirred and opened his eyes. His piercing gaze softened when he saw Achen looking back at him. "Thank God you're alive. I was worried I'd lose you before I even got a chance to make things right." Achen tried to speak, but her voice was weak. "Who are you?" "Why me?" Mr. Achen pressed his hand gently against hers. "My name is Achen. I was the one who hit you by accident. I'm so sorry. I want to make sure you're cared for, whatever it takes." "Where are your parents?" he asked gently. "My father is dead. My mother sacrificed everything for me to go to school. But now..." Achen's voice broke. Touched, Achen listened to her story with quiet intensity. After a long silence, he said, "You're not meant to sell mandatsi on the street. You're going back to school." Achen recovered gradually, and Mr. Achen took her home. Achen's heart pounded as Mr. Achen opened the gate to his home. The moment she stepped inside, a rush of peace washed over her. A feeling of refuge after many struggles. Mr. Achen insisted that Achen stay there while she recovered, and until it was time for her to return to school. His home was warm, comfortable, and filled with kindness. A dramatic contrast to the chaos Achen had recently left behind. Achen began a new routine, resting, healing, and focusing on her future. Mr. Achen encouraged her every step of the way, honoring her resilience. A small study corner was set up just for her, where Achen could pursue her education without distractions. The two slowly forged a deep bond, forged by understanding, loyalty, and compassion. Achen successfully re-enrolled in the university. Her professors recognized her diligence, discipline, and maturity and supported her quest to achieve her degree. Mr. Achen stood by her side, cheering her on and offering financial assistance when needed. In the background, rumors slowly fell silent and Achen's reputation was restored. She made new friends, connected with professors, and opened up to a world full of opportunity. Achen began to blossom, growing into a woman full of confidence, knowledge, and hope, a future leader who would make a difference in her community. On a rainy afternoon, much like the day Achen first fell, Mr. Achen knelt down with a small box in his hand. Inside was a gold ring, a symbol of eternal love and loyalty. Achen's heart filled with happiness as she whispered, "Yes." The two exchanged their marriage vows in a small ceremony with close friends and family in attendance. Achen's mother was brought from their home in the village to be a part of the celebration. She cried tears of happiness as she saw her daughter start a new chapter in her life, a new era filled with peace, happiness, and understanding. After their marriage, Mr. Achen made sure Achen's mother was well cared for. She was brought to their home in the city where she could rest and enjoy her later years in dignity. Achen provided financial stability and loving care, honoring the sacrifices her mother made when Achen was growing up. Meanwhile, in another part of Kampala, Nakato was planning a grand engagement party. Vanessa had finally won Jacob and they were heading to France for a luxury honeymoon. But destiny was not done yet, because when they reached Entebbe Airport, karma was waiting at the gate. The air at Entebbe International Airport buzzed with excitement. Nakato had dressed Vanessa in a sleek, shimmering gown with golden heels to match. Jacob wore designer shades and pushed 2 silver suitcases. He said France was waiting and business meetings were lined up with luxury developers in Paris. "Smile, my daughter," Nakato beamed. "This is only the beginning." But as they approached immigration, 3 plainclothes officers stepped forward. "Mr. Jacob Karabo?" one asked. Jacob smiled casually. "Yes." The man flashed a badge. You're under arrest for drug trafficking and possession with intent to distribute. Gasps exploded around them. Vanessa froze. Nakato screamed. There must be a mistake. But the officers were firm. One opened Jacob's suitcase. Inside the fine suits and wrapped chocolate bars were thick packets of white powder. Cocaine, the officer said. This is not his first time. He's wanted in South Africa and Kenya. Jacob didn't fight. He simply muttered, I warned you not to ask too many questions. Vanessa's face twisted in horror. Mummy, what's happening? Nakato grabbed her daughter, trembling. I didn't know. I thought he was a businessman. Within hours, Jacob and Vanessa were behind bars. News spread fast. Social media lit up. Kampala socialite caught trafficking drugs with fiancé. Nakato became the symbol of disgrace, a woman who sacrificed her own blood only to fall into the pit she dug for someone else. Nakato's husband, Paul, became angry after hearing the story. The two fell out of love and separated, sending Nakato back to the family's abandoned home in the village, a dramatic twist of fate for someone who chose deception over honesty. Achen and Mr. Akina decided to use their growing financial stability to sponsor the education of children from poor backgrounds in their community. They opened a small foundation in their names, a way to pay forward their kindness and generosity. Each year, several children received scholarships to pursue their studies, turning tragedy into opportunity for many. This new mission filled their marriage with a greater purpose. Achen found happiness not just in her own future, but in helping shape a future for the less fortunate. Mr. Akina supported her with all his heart, proud of the woman Achen had become. Years later, Achen and Mr. Akina celebrated their anniversary with their children, their community, and their friends. Achen stood taller, a strong woman forged by adversity. Mr. Akina held her hand, affirming their unity. Her mother, sitting nearby, smiled warmly, proud of their choices and the future that lay before them. While the path hadn't been easy, it had been worth every stride. This story shows us that kindness, patience, perseverance, and pure hearts can conquer even the greatest hardships. Achen chose to hold on to hope instead of resentment, turning tragedy into triumph. We learn that when we do the right thing, even when it's painful, we make a way for healing, happiness, and a future filled with peace. So remember, never lose hope and trust the better days are ahead. Read hard. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and enable notifications for more powerful stories just like this. Your support helps us bring you more content that inspires, transforms, and brings us together.